Dr. Shannon Clark here. I am a double board certified ObGyn and maternal-fetal medicine specialist, and I love podcasts. In fact, the Something Was Wrong podcast with Tiffany Reese is one of my favorites. I've watched it since the very beginning. And this season 23, is about the Origins Birth and Wellness Center out of Dallas, Texas, which is now closed. And it's following some stories of what happened to some patients there and how it came to be closed. I'm going to go through each episode and use what's discussed in that episode to talk about certain topics here. So episode 1 is called Built to Birth, and the first thing I want to talk about is the difference between CNMs, or certified nurse midwives, and direct entry midwives, or DEMs. Now, according to the podcast, according to the data from the CDC, of the more than 400,000 out-of-hospital births attended by midwives in the last decade in the United States, nearly 60% involved direct entry midwives. And direct entry midwives include CMs, or certified midwives, and CPMs, or certified professional midwives. These midwives do not have any type or form of training in nursing. They're not RNs. And they can enter the field via midwifery schools, college programs, or an apprenticeship. Okay, so let's first talk about a certified professional midwife. They possess a high school diploma or the equivalent and complete NARM's portfolio evaluation process or graduate from a midwifery education program accredited by the MEAC. Their education and clinical training focus on the midwives model of care in homes and freestanding birth centers, but they may practice in clinics and doctor's office. They do have a path to licensure in 37 states and DC, but practice privileges are going to vary greatly from state to state. And then they get their certification through NARM. Regarding certified midwives, CMs, they graduate from a master's level midwifery education program. Their training is very similar to a CNM, or certified nurse midwife, but they are not required to have the nursing component to their training. Attainment of knowledge, skills, etc. Is through the ACNM core competencies for basic midwifery education, and their clinical education must occur under the supervision of the AMCB. And then finally, they are currently recognized in these states here, and certified organization includes the American Midwifery Certification Board. And this is for the certified nurse midwives. They are registered nurses who have completed additional education and certification in midwifery. So they graduate from a master's or higher level nurse midwifery education program accredited by the ACME, and then they pass the certified nurse midwife exam through the American or AMCB. And they are considered part of the mainstream medical establishment and are trained to be in hospitals, birth centers, or even for home births. But the vast majority of CNMs do practice in clinics, hospitals, and obstetricians' offices. They are licensed in 50 states plus DC and U.S. territories, as they are certified through the AMCB. Now, as you can see, the training is very different. All those acronyms and letters are very different. That's why it's extremely important to know exactly what you're getting when you are choosing midwifery care. Now, in the United States, midwifery regulations are often established and overseen by the state health departments, board of nursing, or specific boards or agencies that are dedicated to regulating midwifery. Now, in Texas, midwives are overseen by the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. And here are some of the other things that the TDLR regulates. Pause to read. Now, one of the points that this podcast makes is the following. Because midwifery training standards and required education vary greatly state to state, there are deep inconsistencies in the birthing industry that leaves clients unaware of the potential risks involved. And I have talked about that a lot on my platforms.